tenuous conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Thank you, John Larson. I receive your kind words on behalf of all of our courageous members of the House of Representatives who want the best for the American people. And what we can do that is best for them in the next 24 hours is to pass affordable, accessible health care for all Americans. The best for all Americans is to have 32 million more people to have health insurance in our country. The best for...
Piece of stinking filth.
Shh, say it again, Shali. This is AJ of the InfoWars. Listen to the Shaliak. This is Alex Jones of InfoWars. Listen to Shaliak on the Cold Reality News and Report.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Well, hello there.
Let's do that again. This week on Cold Reality Radio. Trump to clean house. Is that the swamp that he was talking about? We'll find out. North Korea pops off another one and a grave threat to Japan. Comey fired this week. The aftermath, mental illness. Impeach Maxine Waters. Street art appears years in Inglewood, realizing that she is ineffective, if she ever was anything at all. Trump to visit Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the Vatican. Man calls 911 and has to be deported. Massive hack of the planet or plain Earth. But one guy who changed a domain name was able to thwart the ransomware attacks. It's not over. They're going to encrypt your data, your pictures, your PowerPoints, your Word documents, your spreadsheets, and then you're going to pay them. You're going to pay them to get that shit back. Yes, that's what you're going to do. You are going to pay dearly for your data, your dear data. New York City, dead man on subway, fourth public corpse in 4 days. Do you rise from the dead and eat brains? Man sleeps 6 days next to his wife in bed, only to find out that she was deceased the entire time. What is the world coming to? What is the world coming to? Sorry, I had the wrong cable plugged into the wrong cable port. Still doesn't sound very, I don't know. What am I looking at here? I'm not getting much of, there it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing my mic power here. I don't know. Maybe I just hosed the mic by plugging it in while it's live. The wrong cable, of course. I have a short mic cable and then a long one. And I thought they had the long one plugged in because I couldn't find the short one. But then I had both of them. And I plugged in the wrong sides of each one. Anyway, all right, so let's see what we got here. Let me get this mic closer. I don't know what's, I guess it sounds okay. I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, here we are. This is called Reality Radio here on the UCY.TV Broadcasting Network. Let's get some lows in there. Let me get some lows. I need some lows. Lows, highs. I think what happens is I usually kind of, with this setup here, I have some effects that I can exact. No, it's the wrong one. I'm actually on the wrong one. Or am I? On the wrong one? I guess I am. No, there I am. Now I'm God. Please stop listening to all of these grandiose titles: president, congressman, senator, FBI director. Stop listening to them. They're flattering titles. Stop listening to them. Stop doing that. And floss every day. Not only your teeth, but the crack of your ass. And for God's sake, stay away from the pharmaceutical drugs. They're destroying my creation. Glyphosate. Glyphosate. I am omnipotent. I have many tones of my voice. Why are you looking to others to lead you? You are the one. You and you can change the world. It's large percentages of other fucks out there who are the ones that are the problem. Tell them to stop going to church. It's not where you need to be. You need to be where you are right now, listening to Cold Reality Radio with the Shali Lama. Maybe not one of my greatest creations, but he's trying. The UCY chat. Let us pray. Let us pray. Anyway, all right, let's get back to sanity now, shall we? Whatever that word means, whatever that is. Whatever that is, man. I don't know, but certainly not what's going on in the world out there. I reached out to a very controversial person on the. I don't like to use that person. I don't like to use that because of my, of course, my friend Stephen, where he says at his blog, "Not a person or citizen. You do not want to be either one of those things. Not a person or citizen.blogspot.com. You don't want to be a person or a citizen, because as soon as they give you a label, then that's when the extraction and the taxation and all that other stuff starts. Like, for instance, I forget where this happened, but a citizen was hit and killed by a undocumented person. Actually, no, they're not even a person. They're no one. You see, the thing about these refugees and these undocumented, it's probably a good thing for them that they're not documented. People strive to become United States citizens. It's not this glorious thing we found out from Clint, whose book is, or his work is basically completed, but now he's found a printer that is going to print his work for a little bit less than once thought. So these are good things. These are good things that that we're going to be seeing very shortly from Clint, and so that's super awesome news. The straw man, the story of your strawmanstory.info. Go there, strawmanstory.info. This is what they turn you into. I'm a United States citizen. I don't know about you, but So this guy, back on track now. So this undocumented comes in, drinks, gets behind the wheel of a car, and kills this citizen. So the defense was that he, when drinking alcohol, does not have the enzyme that's required to be able to break down alcohol. So apparently if he drinks like one drink or something, he's like, he was out all night drinking and like blind. And so he kills this citizen, and then this is how they get this. This is how they get this guy off from the charges. But the reality is they can't charge him with anything because he doesn't have the flattering title of United States citizen. Now, if this was another United States citizen who hit him, then it would be a different story. All right, so, and of course we found these things out. When you are a citizen, when you're born, your birth certificate enslaves you into the United States corporation, and thus the Crown Corporation. And so, having said that, this is one of the reasons why the catch and release stuff kind of goes on, because they can't really prosecute a non-person or a non-citizen. I mean, if they wanted to, they could, but legally, in this system of legalism, which we've also found out so much about from Clint, that it's an interesting. This fan's pretty loud. We found out so much about this information from Clint that it's really. It takes a little while, but it's beginning to sink in. So again, I'm trying to get a very, very controversial individual, or should I say, a very controversial man onto the program. I've reached out, and I'm just going to say that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anymore. And then we'll see what happens. So Comey, the firing, how it happened, the whole deal. There's a lot of speculation out there as to why this took place. Very, very interesting individual on the internet. I think you guys have heard of them before. Their website is Storm Clouds Gathering, has broken it down to a lot of connections. The connecting of the dots. We listen to David Icke and the ability, the dot connector. And it turns out that through this particular speculation that that Donald Trump and Chuck O'Celli kind of pointed this out before, that Trump was on the Lolita Express. He was on the Lolita Express, and he, as well as Bill Clinton, maybe even Kevin Spacey. And Comey was the prosecutor at that time. Epstein, nice man, got a smack on the wrist. Went to one of those, didn't go to one of those pound you in the ass prisons. He went to one of those daycare centers for the chosen. And so at that time, there was, I believe, some gentleman named Acosta, and he was the judge who handed down the punishment, or whatever you call that Epstein got away with because of his billion-dollar status. And again, from Clint, that remedy is money, so you can pay to avoid being prosecuted. And so this Acosta was just given a position in the Trump administration. So I'm going to play that at one point. Yesterday I was playing it and it kind of froze up. But it kind of breaks down things in a way that you would, they kind of make sense that he was part of that Lolita Express and probably, went to one of those islands that Dr. Phil's guest, the young woman, I guess she might have been under 20, but she might have been like 20, between 20 and 25. But, that show was about her being a sex slave. She was sold by her biological parents to some man who was her master. And he would ship her around. And one of the places that she said that she went was an island. And, of course, when you're as rich and filthy, disgusting, perverted, wretched being like Jeffrey Epstein, that's kind of what you do. Like the Geico commercials. It's what you do when you're above the law. So Acosta, the lawyer that handed out the punishment for Epstein, is now and has a position in the Trump administration. So it's very very interesting, very, very interesting, and what you would expect. And of course, Donald says, "Oh, he's a very nice man." That Mr. Epstein, he loves beautiful women like I do, and blah, 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 blah. So that's what he was overheard saying. And so where does this all go? What is happening? Why so much corruption? Why so much anxiety and anger and the Democrats going insane about Comey when at one point they really don't even have a base to stand on. At one point they're like, Comey, he is the reason that Hillary did not become. And now that he's fired, but he was fired by Trump. So it's like it's a mental fucking illness. I mean, it's one aspect of the mental illness that goes on in this false reality. This false reality that was created by those who knew that there would be, it would be them and then us. It would be them and us. And they would create the monetary system that would benefit those who are from Satan's asshole. And again, I don't believe Satan is a person. I believe Satan is just, a adversary of man. Any adversary of man, anyone who does harm to someone else knowingly, maliciously, for no other reason other than to just do harm, that's Satan. That's an adversary, So as the can kicks down the road and we get closer to what many have said for a long time, and then of course you get those that say, Oh, you've been saying for such a long time that there's going to be a collapse. When is going to happen? The economy is doing so well. The economy is doing so well, but Harry Dent, others, other economists that do not get very much airplay anymore are saying that a monetary economic collapse is inevitable. And I guess that's pretty much the case. There's just I don't think there's any way that you can do what has been done for as long as it's been done. You can continue to create money out of thin air, and I think that that's going to sustain. But it will sustain and support the criminality and the upper crust until it cannot do that anymore. So that's why ultimately we are moving towards catastrophic violence, war in every definition of the word. In Asia, things are not well. You look at Korea, North Korea, South Korea. I mean, it's just it's a chessboard that has been put together exactly the way that it was designed, so that at this time there would be a reason to do what we're doing. For a reason for Trump to do what he's doing. And ultimately, they're not going to find any connection to Russia. But it's really just your smoke and mirrors. Your political roller coaster that's going to, like so many other amusement park rides, eventually seize, and then the rescue. Problem, reaction, solution, right? So we have a global hack, ransomware, and we've been told about this for so long. It's the predictive programming. If it attacks a hospital, then people will die. Ultimately, these hospitals. I think it's the National Health Service or something over in Europe. Again, we were told that this was going to happen eventually, and what the ransomware does is it encrypts your data, your pictures, which essentially wouldn't, be enough to harm someone's health, a Word document. They pretty much use different formats. So ransomware really just kind of goes in and encrypts specific files. Word, all the Microsoft Office. It's designed to do that. And with Bitcoin coming to the surface over the last 10 years, I don't know. I know that it is a different currency, but most importantly, it's a currency that's not traceable, I believe, because when someone ransomwares your computer, and all it takes is an email attachment and some fucking jackass with his head or her head up its ass to just, be a fucking clicky clickerson. Next thing you know, it executes on the system and then it goes out. The thing about networks is a lot of people have mapped network drives, so they go out to a server. So if they have a connection to that drive, boom, it goes to the drive and it goes out to the share, and then it starts to encrypt that. But there are methods, and I see it every day because the people that I work with, are pretty good at being able to shut down those network stores, those network drives because there's a process that happens. And of course, I don't believe that this is, obviously it's a rogue group, but they're being paid by the international monetary system. These are groups of hackers that are being paid by the system so that they can create enough of a crisis so that they can problem, reaction, solution, knowing that they created the problem, knowing what the reaction is going to be from the commoners. Somebody's got to do something. Oh my God, I don't have my pictures of Cancun. Next thing you know, solution, the people that caused the problem ultimately will, or people connected to them in government, will offer the solution. They will offer the solution, and the solution is what? They've already have a global task force that's put in place to try to find out who this group is. All right. And so you see movies like the new Bourne movie. If you've seen that, the beginning is one of the female agents that worked with Jason Bourne in the past is kind of like on the run or trying to expose something because she knows that she's been involved with just criminal activity across the board. She's trying to make up for what she did or didn't do, or she's trying to still help Jason Bourne, a man who was turned into a super soldier. Of course, the one prior to the latest Bourne movie with Renner. They kind of alluded to how they would do it, how they would make these super soldiers, and of course they would inject viruses as carriers, which would then manipulate the brain and manipulate different things. Of course, this is a conversation for Patrick Jordan. He may, I'm pretty sure it would have something to chime in on it. And so these things are a reality, and they give you pieces of that when you're watching, because Hollywood is one of the biggest propaganda tools for the control system. And the sad thing is that people just don't even think that the control is really there. They don't think that they're being held in their spot, in like you're playing your role. I am a taxpayer. I went to college. I'm a this. I'm a that. I am a doctor. I am a lawyer. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that some of the most professional, some of the highest positions in our fake world are you're the worst people that can be, it turns out. Now, maybe some of you are helping people. We know that in the medical system that the pharmaceutical companies rule supreme, and they can do whatever they want because they are a sub-corporation of the United States corporation, and their job is to find some chemical for you to put a Band-Aid on some condition that food or water or vaccines or some chemical toxic substance caused your insides to fail, And then, of course, from there, then they shuffle you off to your grave. And people can't understand that this is what's happening. When a woman goes insane, drowns her kids, or does something completely fucking insane, like a grandmother who was not really trusted by her, by her daughter and her son-in-law. One day when everyone was busy and no one could pick up the toddler and the other 5 or 6 year old, 7-year-old, she goes, picks them up, drives them somewhere, and shoots both of them. And we just are told that people just fucking lose their shit. They just lose their shit. And that's what they want to press that. They want to impart that on you so much that these people just lose their fucking shit. For no other reason than some kind of chemical imbalance that only pharma can fucking cure. Some kind of something that causes people to do such awful things, when in fact it is pharmaceutical drugs that is behind pretty much 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, maybe even higher when it comes to these events and people just doing shit that you would be like, oh my God, did you hear about that guy who, took a shit in the middle of the road and then killed 10 people? No, it's always just, hey, these people they just fucking lost their shit. There's no tie through the corporate media. There's no tie to pharmaceutical companies because they're all in collusion. They're all making money off one another. Meanwhile, there's lawsuit to the fucking umpteenth degree for every single one of these fucking drugs. Xarelto, the new blood thinner, probably killed Arnold Palmer. Oh, he was old. He's just old, yeah. He's just old. He's just gonna die. Yeah, it was his time. Yeah. Died of natural causes. Or the girl that gets a Gardasil vaccine, falls down, hits her head, dies, and then the doctor says brain trauma on the report. Fell down, hit her head. Not cool, man. Not cool. But yeah, we just accept what we're told. We just absorb like sponges what we're told, and without question, we just move forward. But apparently when you question and you become that gear that just doesn't fucking turn in synchronicity with everyone else and their bullshit fucking existence, you're the problem. Why would you even question a doctor? Why would you question a lawyer? I mean, we know that lawyers are, look at their job is to make a killer innocent. Their job is to, and say, oh, out of a fair trial, right? Which is nothing but money, nothing but taxpayer this, taxpayer that. They're just stealing and saying, okay, well, everybody deserves a trial. Even if somebody saw someone stand there and fucking kill like 5 people, they still deserve a trial. And then, but if you, again, I understand the duality of that is if you say that this guy doesn't deserve a trial, then, they could say that about something else. They could say that about someone else or some other situation. But everybody just wants to go along to get along. Everybody just wants to be programmed. They don't realize it, but they want to be programmed. They want their programming. They want their television shows that deify doctors and they make law sexy. All these legal shows with the fantastical, busty redhead legal secretary that looks fantastic even on her worst hair day. The bottom line is all of it is just fucking garbage. It's just it's a fucking stew, a buffet of shit. I watch sports. I enjoy some of it. But I also understand that it is bread and circus. And for young men, teenager, which leads me to the Penn State thing that happened. The young men and 20-something, 30-something that just live and breathe the National Football League. This is truly the way that America operates. The states operate in the same way. Your governors are the team owners. Greg from New Jersey has broken it down any number of times, how it all operates. And then, of course, you have your Goodell, which is basically Trump. And it shouldn't be that fantastical that Trump is the president. It shouldn't be, because this was planned. This was planned when they took him and made him a television star. They did it with Arnold Schwarzenegger. They made him the governor. And of course, the show's failed, and it's burning. And of course, Trumpstein points that out, that the show is worthless without a doubt. It's all predetermined that Trump would become the president. And I really truly believe that, that Hillary knew that she wasn't going to win. She was told, you're not winning this. The pendulum's going to swing the other way. We got to make sure that we get the most anxiety out of the people that we programmed to do exactly what they're doing. We got to have the chaos. We got to have the people that hate. And then we'll fund the groups. We'll fund the anti-Fa groups. And they'll burn the fuckers down. And it's going to get worse. You can count on it. Because America cannot be what it was. It never is what it was. It never was what it was. It never was what we were told that it was. It isn't what it is. And it's never going to be what they say that it would be. It's a pirate cove. Again, Greg from New Jersey pointed that out. Gustavus Myers on YouTube in his multi his books that he wrote about what America truly is. And America truly is not separate from European monarchy. It's owned by Rome, like so much other land. We know what the definition is of all of these words that we think that we know what the definition is, which it's not. It means something totally different. We get taught dog Latin. Douchebags speak, and they speak something totally different in their legal halls and just ice, where just ice takes place. So it really truly is a place that doesn't even really truly exist in the real world. But hey, as long as you've got your Popeyes fried chicken and your whatever sporting event, whatever programming that it is that you watch, whatever it is that makes you sleep at night when you lay down to get up and go to your jobs in the morning when you have 5 on and 2 off. That's an equation that really makes true sense. That what's wrong with 4 on, 3 off? Or what's wrong with, 4.5 and then 2.5, The design is that you to do and play your part, to play your role. In society, which is work your ass off, get in debt, or go to these schools that are turning children into clueless cupcakes, teaching them things that they ultimately do not need to know, lying to them about the environment, lying to them about pretty much everything, and I mean everything, and sending them out for some to go to college, for some to not go. And then, of course, they'll say, this person will make $1 million more if they go to college. No, it's just another part of the design. And if in the very beginning, if you create schools that are teaching lies and deceptions, everything else after that is you living a lie. Just absolutely living a fucking lie. But people love this movie. They love it. They love the movie going on. Well, they're not going to love it very soon. And it's going to be sad for them. It's going to be sad for everybody, but it's really, truly going to be sad for those who really thought that it couldn't happen here. And the bottom line is that it can, and it's going to. Because if you are trying to get the numbers down, you're going to need just absolute insanity. And we're already seeing it on a daily basis. You see it on the highways. You see, this total selfishness, the total disconnect that people have. They think that they're better than this group of people or better than that group of people. So they really just kind of disconnect, and they walk through the world like they're disconnected from it, but they're totally connected to it. A lot of people think that going to church on Sunday and being a good Christian or being a good Jew or being a good Muslim is spirituality. When in fact, it's there to bankrupt you spiritually. You're all fake. You're all fake titles. And that's the sad part of it. And I don't say this because I think I'm better than anyone else. Of course, it will sound that way. But it's better to be no thing than something. And I think that was probably one of the strongest phrases that I ever heard from Clint. And I just kept on thinking about it. It's better to be no thing than something. Well, I tell you, you're really something. They just totally fucking called you. You're something. We don't know. You're a man, or you're a woman, but we just called you something. That guy really did something with his life. Something. I think I'd rather be no thing than something. JJ, my man, hope you're doing well. UCY.TV, May 14th, Mother's Day. How did I go 53 minutes into the broadcast without saying Happy Mother's Day? How did I do that? How did I do that? Well, happy Mother's Day. Jules, happy Mother's Day. For all you mothers out there that have a clue and really, really know what nurturing is, we really know what nurturing is, how to really truly protect your child from the evils of this world. But we're always told that evil is outside evil is, Iran, or evil is Syria, or evil is North Korea, or evil is China. Evil, when we know that those that say, watch out for that one, they're trying to deceive you. But we are the host, they are the parasite. It happens no other way. 80 to 90% of the world, just nature is parasitic. Why do we do what we do? Why do they do what they do to us? Is it their nature to do it? Is it in their genetic code? Is it in the 15% of our DNA that is relevant and the other 85% junk DNA? And that's what they call it. 85%, 80 to 85% of your DNA is just junk. It's just junk. You're 85% junk. That's what science says. Neil deGrasse Tyson says, the Earth, it's not so much a sphere as it's something. It's obtuse. It's some shape. It's some other shape. Some other shape. It's not so round. It's not so much round. Something not round. But it's spinning 1,000 miles an hour. It's right now. I don't even know how all this computer stuff here is staying stable, because we're spinning, man. We're spinning. Yeah, we're spinning. We're spinning McSpinnersons, man. That's what we're doing. Check this out. This is pretty funny.
Do you take full responsibility for your own failures? Admit your mistakes when you're wrong. Why suffer in silence? Now you can make your failure someone else's fault. With Blame It All.
I was on the way to winning until the combination of Jim Comey's letter on October 28th and Russian WikiLeaks.
Blame It All works with the brain's receptors to help you replace your sense of responsibility with wild accusations. Don't live with this.
Oh, of course. I take absolute personal responsibility.
Just blame it all on the FBI and Vladimir Putin.
He certainly interfered in our election, and it was clear he interfered to hurt me and to help my opponent.
Its time-released action helps you cope with public failure and absolves you of fault.
The election been on October 27th, I'd be your president.
Keep telling yourself that with Blame It All. Side effects may include disinterest in campaigning, interviews, having a clear vision to lead the nation, and uncontrollable cackling.
Nicely. Blame it all. The Blame It All. Just pretty amazing how the whole thing just spins out, and then there's no there's no real answers. I have another one here too. This is a good one. There it is.
Pharmaceutical product on the market, and lucky for you, it's tonight's sponsor.
Are you struggling to live in modern times? Do you wish you could relate everything back to a single historical event that happened decades ago? Are you left to make sense of current events on your own?
We're left to find other context, other analogies that make this make sense.
Well, wait no longer. Make this make sense with Nixonia. Nixonia bonds with the neurons in your brain, allowing you to successfully connect everything to Watergate.
Trump's seismic firing, sparking comparisons to Watergate.
This is a lot worse than Watergate.
The whole echo of Watergate is very strong here.
The results are undeniable. So talk to your doctor today about taking Nixonia. Side effects may include constantly being distracted by fantasies and impeachment.
So get your prescription of Blametol and Nixonia, and have fun. Have fun with that. Oh wow! So we covered the false flag ransomware, the global ransomware attack that is moving us closer to Internet 2.0. And when you really think about it, it's you're already being traced. You're being tracked and traced, put into a database. If you get out of line, we will put you back in place. Your home internet has a static IP address that's linked to you. Your cell phone has a static IP address that is linked directly to the person who pays the bill. That's you. So what ultimately is going to happen, and along with more of the consolidation of the corporate fake news, the ABC, NBC, CBS types, and of course, Fox News as well. Those clips were from a comedy show there on, Greg Gutfeld. I think he just wanted his name to sound like Seinfeld so that he would be, and he's not unfunny, but the show is pretty funny, and there's a lot of pretty women on it. So false flag. Oh, and yet of course a blogger from the UK stopped the attack from continuing. A blogger who lives at home with his parents was able to do some, they called him a blogger. This guy, they don't want to say hacker, a blogger, right? So blogger was able to rectify the situation and stop it from proliferating and getting worse. All right. Now, let's face it, they could turn the internet off completely, and there will be a virus that's sent out there that will just shut everything down, and they will blame it on Russia, or they'll blame it on China, and that'll just be one of the machinations and excuses for a World War III type scenario. Because all of these computers, it depends on the software. The software mainly runs on the Microsoft operating system, which is basically Microsoft's just a spin-off of IBM, because IBM was being back in the day, back in the, what was it, the 50s, 60s, whatever, whatever it was. Okay. Actually, IBM was further back than that, IBM and the Holocaust, remember that, where IBM was apparently, the story goes, that the guy was his electronic or technological way of marking, people in concentration camps or work camps or but Microsoft runs the world mostly. I mean, Mac has its place. I'm using 2 now. And they are less likely to be infected. All right. So if you have an executable program that gets on a Mac that's a virus, that exe cannot run on the Mac because it doesn't operate from executables. That exes and MSIs are programs that run in the Windows environment. DMG files, things like that, or extensions run on Mac. So Microsoft dominates the world, and it's not, it's not just, they didn't come out of, out of clear blue sky and be like, we are computers and we're going to run everything from this point forward. They can shut it all down because the reason for their creation and the reason for so many of these other technology companies, Cisco, many of the high level ones are the biggest players. All of the circuitry, all of the design is created to be able to be controlled. You look at Stuxnet. The Stuxnet virus was programmed so that it would go into the Iranian nuclear facility, and it was designed specifically to affect things called PLCs that are part of the design. Like things are going to be designed this way, and this is how we're going to. This is how everything's going to operate. So when you do that, it's PC logic controllers. Okay, it's all designed. They're all designed with a specific standard, and when that standard is set, and everybody has to follow that standard to be able to do business, then viruses and malware, malicious code can get into those PLCs and shut things down. Because when you build a nuclear facility, you have to use these same devices. Now, if somebody went out there and designed the new PLC or the new programmable logic controller, they could possibly make it so that it wouldn't, that code or these external codes could affect it. But, it's they all kind of work in the same way. We're talking about logic. We're talking about transistors. 2 transistors are on, that's a 1. You got, it's all digital logic, but it works when you're dealing with ones and zeros and what the output would be. If it's an AND function, then it's simply, I think it's multiplication. So it's like a 0 times 0 is 0, 0 times 1 is 0, 1 times 0 is 0, and the only time that you get a 1 is if you have a 1 and a 1. Those 2 outputs are 1, then you get a 1, and that turns on the next function. So programmable logic controllers, and that's how Stuxnet was designed. It was designed to attack these PLCs that knew that they know how they operate. It's just that it's just like our bodies. They've been studying how we function, things that they don't share, things that doctors don't even know, but they know that the brain does this, the brain does that. If we put this chemical in there, this person will kill 10 people. If you give them a little bit less, they might just kill 5. That's kind of a joke, but they know that these poisons are going to create. They're creating the chemical imbalance that doesn't exist, but they'll say that it's a chemical imbalance. It's all the same thing. They know how everything works. You listen to them because they're scientists and you're just a dumbass like me, right? I mean, I know a little bit. But every time we hear science, get ready to learn something or try to. Oh, there's Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's over there. He's going to tell us how the Earth's not so much a sphere as it is a spheroid. And that gravity holds us all on the ground as we spin at an incredible rate. In the heliocentric model of what we've been told is the Milky Way galaxy. But there's so much to know out there. There's so much to know, but you've never been taught it. It's all about having power over someone else. I mean, it's simply that's the way. I mean, it happens in the workplace. People are put in positions of power. They know certain things before everyone else, and they use that information to operate the environment, control the environment. What is our environment? People. Who do they want to control? People. How do we control them? Well, let's break them down into religious groups. Let's do that. If they're different colors, then let's break them down into that. Let's create groups that hate that color, and then we can manipulate them through fear. Let's make events happen that are catastrophic, and then war against that. Oh dear, cancer, where did this come from? It's killing us, reaction. Oh God, what are we going to do? Oh yeah, war on cancer. War on terror. War. And what is war? Profit. And meanwhile, they're not destroying cancer. They're not destroying. I mean, if we were as awesome as we think that we are, cancer would be eradicated. Disease would be eradicated. No. Sorry. Nope. No. Disease is too profitable. In fact, there's not enough disease, so let's figure out how we can create more. And that's how bad people think. That's how bad people think. Bad people? Let me think. All right, Henry Kissinger. Who met with Henry Kissinger at the White House within the last week? Donald Trump. Oh, yeah, right. He's the president. I don't have anything against Donald Trump. I just think he's full of shit. And I don't know how full of shit he is at this point. I know how full of shit Obama is. We know that he's a fucking long-legged Mac Daddy fucking cousin of George Washington and European bloodlines that go back to Charlemagne. So it's all a bunch of shit. Yeah, we participate in every day. And what does Greg from New Jersey say? Greg says, the only way that we're really going to try to make a dent in this fucking thing is if people just decide that they're just not going to participate in it anymore. They're not going to participate in what? The fiction. And then when you don't participate in the fiction, then reality sets in. People are basically saying, we don't like what you're doing. We don't like your creation. You need to start doing this. But people at the core, and there's a lot of great people out there, the fantastic people, deep down, and I know that, there's a lot of people that in what I've done over the last, 5-6 years, I've found people that have a lot of courage. So I'm not talking about them. There's people out there that have a lot of courage. Jules for creating this network, letting people say what they want to say. Jules saying what she wants to say. JJ. He's had his struggles and his experiences. That guy has a lot of courage. At the core, there are a lot of cowards out there, man. People that go along to get along because they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to say this system is fucking bullshit. We have to, and it's their system. Clint's remedy, his resolution is you got to leave it. You're not going to change it. And that's rock solid reality right there. And with the mental fucking illness that's out there, people are not going to say, no, stop doing this. People are saying, stop bringing refugees into the country. Stop letting people who don't understand, the diseased fucking culture that is America. It is a diseased culture. From the programming, from the Kardashians to the shit that people fucking watch and thus entertained by it. We're manipulated in such a mass fucking way. There's no turning this. There's really no turning it around, and that's why, Clint says you got to leave it. You got to get outside of it. So you can't. Well, if you're outside of it, you can't do business inside that corporation unless you have your economic concentration camp number, which is your Social Security number. They know how to control people. They know how to herd the cattle. They know what they're doing. But everybody's having such a great time. Life is great. Hey, if it is, that's good. That's true. But ultimately, you're going to have to answer to somebody. You're answering to them now. You just don't even know it. They're stealing from you. There's a meme that I read this morning. oh, here's $500 of the $12,000 that I stole from you. Here's I stole 12,000 from you, but here's $500 back. People think that paying taxes is their duty. It's their admission to the corporation. You're paying to be in the corporation. No. This is a country. I don't know what you're talking about. This is a country. That's how people think. This is a country. It's all about money. It's a corporation. It runs that way. Clint's Corporation Nation program pointed that out, 5 times a week for close to 3 years as he was on his personal journey to find out what the fuck it is that we're doing here. Or at least, why did all this happen? We know that 9/11 was a lie. We know that all these things are lies. We know that something's wrong. I knew from a young age, in my teens, this isn't the way things operate, but I didn't act on it. This isn't the way the world operates. This isn't the way the world functions. And then you start hearing about foods that are bad for you, or diet sodas, or saccharin or aspartame or something like that. And you start hearing these things like, yeah, this stuff is probably not good for people. Well, why are they selling something? Why is something being approved for mass consumption that's not safe or said to be not safe? And then you get to the next level and you hear more of it, more of it, more of it. And then you think, hey, are they trying to hurt people? Are they creating sick people? And then you're $34, $35 something, and you run into Melonhead Alex Jones on YouTube or and next thing you know, you're hearing what you thought, and and there's a lot of evidence, and even my soon hoping to be a soon guest of mine, hoping soon to have a guest that went through that same process. I think we've all kind of gone through that same process where you travel the Alex Jones Highway, or one of the bloodline family members of George Washington, most likely. But that's one thing that, Jones will never talk about. That's one thing that many people will not talk about, is that these people, these presidents, are all related, right? And I think even the person that I reached out, the man that I reached out to have on the program, the beginning of one of his books points out that these are bloodline families, and I think that we kind of know that, but the details of Cheney and Obama being 6 cousins, and Cheney being related to George W. Bush, which means that Obama's related to Bush. So what does Obama say when Tavis Smiley says, "Oh, you're related to Dick Cheney"? Oh my God! Oh, we're not kissing cousins. You're so funny, junior senator, who's soon going to be president, like Bill Clinton of the Rockefeller bloodline. And make no mistake, And I think, largely, that Comey's pretty much going to disappear. Not like they're killing him. I think he's just going to disappear. I don't think that he's going to get out there and he's going to say things, because I think he knew. I think this was the plan all along. You're going to be the FBI director. This is what you're going to do, and this is what your directives are. You're not going to prosecute this one. You're not going to prosecute that one. Just like Eric Holder, just like Loretta Lynch, they don't prosecute any of the real criminals. The people that are supposed to be in fucking jail are running the country. Or the corporation. The people that are supposed to be in jail are building jails for other people. It's absurd, but it's true. Comey is most likely going to disappear. He might say one thing here, one thing there, but his next job is already determined. He's already made a boatload of money. He probably got an incredible sum of money for not following through with any prosecution, indictment of Hillary Clinton and her crimes or supposed crimes. But are they really crimes when she's a member of the powers and banking powers that created the stage and the platform for these people to stand on, for the Obamas or the Barry Dunhams of the world, and the Mitt Romney, who's also related to William Pierce, looks just like him. John McCain, also a cousin of George Washington, which means he's related to Barack Obama. And that's pointed out in the Guardian article where Obama, 44 cousins in the Senate alone in one of the years of his 8 in fictional office. Of course, one of them, Jeff Sessions. Another one, Rockefeller, Senator Rockefeller. Now that was probably in the first 2 or 3 years, because if you look at Obama's his first inauguration, there's Jay Rockefeller standing back there behind him, tall fella, very, very rich, just like the rest of his family. Ill-gotten gains, criminal. I mean, even if they're not legal crimes in this sick, disgusting legal system that benefits only the criminals, then you could just say crimes against man. The creation of birth control. No, I'm not against birth control, but these pills are fucking destroying women. Just destroying women. It's Mother's Day. You got to point out that there is, and always has been, a war on the female. A war on the female. The poison of the birth control pill. It robs you in more ways than one of your health. Now everybody, well, you've heard stories like, well, at that point in my life, I couldn't get pregnant, or this couldn't happen. And you understand that because people, they have plans, they have goals working inside the fiction. So they don't want to have children at that time, or they don't want to do this. But at the same time, they want to, enjoy the fruits of life. And that's fine. It's just that who's there to provide these toxins and these poisons? Planned Parenthood, Rockefeller Foundation. We know the Clinton Foundation is another criminal organization. Foundations, criminal foundations. And again, not so much criminally legal, whatever, which means just anti-God, but crimes against man, crimes against woman, and those would be, in the actual commoner's court, which with any real justice, any real I hate to say justice, maybe there's a synonym for it. Any real I don't even know. We'll say justice, but I really want to just say some other synonym that kind of is less legalism related. If there's any real fill in the blank, then there will be a commoner's court one day, and those who made us commoners will be on trial. And I'm sure there won't be that many objections. And those who have done these awful, awful things to man and woman will be served hopefully their last meal. But, again, these people aren't leaders, and most people aren't even paying attention. People like to think that they're paying attention to what's going on. They're not really paying attention to what's going on. It's just a big amusement park. And politics and these other aspects are one section of that amusement park. And then one would say, you shouldn't be so hard on these people because they just want to be free to do whatever. Again, sooner or later, the piper is going to get paid. And there will be that point in time when you thought you knew and now you don't. And it's not like I thought I knew that I wasn't, that I thought I knew that I was the biological, son or daughter of these two people, but then you find out, no, you're adopted. We gave you away. We gave you away to the state. Then the state found somebody, a couple taxpayers to take care of you. And, it's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. So just pretty outrageous things that you hear that you just, you really just can't even believe. I wonder if that story's still here. New dinosaur fossil, best preserved ever. Sweet. More dino. More dinosaurs. Egypt uncovers Chamber of Mummies. Ooh, Chamber of Mummies, yes. I want my mummy. All right, what do we got here? So, as I said, Trump is going to visit, the settlers' land, Israel, and going to go to Saudi Arabia. I wonder if he's going to talk about or ask, hey, why are you fucking bombing the shit out of Yemen and killing everybody there? Any particular reason? Former Trump employees claim 30 years of covert taping, once even used in a lawsuit. 3 former employees have claimed to have personally witnessed him recording phone calls at Trump Tower in New York, and a 4th person said a recording of him was entered into evidence in a lawsuit, the Wall Street Journal reports. So it's not all out of the realm of possibility that Trump could be ousted from his presidency. I mean, Nixon was impeached for, really truly was set up. He was really truly set up. But you find out that people that are demonized by the media are probably people that are not scumbags and assholes. You got people like Nelson Mandela, who's praised, and doesn't take much research to find out that that's a bunch of hogwash. The washing of the hog. The washing of the hog. All right, what else we got here? Philadelphia marks 30th anniversary of the MOVE bombing. On May 13th of 85, the Philadelphia Police Department dropped a bomb on a home of a group of African American activists who were disrupting a neighborhood, killing 11 people. I remember that. I remember watching that. I remember. The Journal of the American Medical Association admits that 30% of drugs, now this is totally higher, approved by the FDA, that's a weird headline, approved by the FDA are seriously dangerous. Now it's actually higher than that. There's no doubt that it's higher than that. And they're all for you. They're all for you. All for you. It's a story over at Blacklisted News. Dutch documentary details Trump's ties to Russian oligarchs and Israeli mobsters. Massive corporate consolidation of local news is underway. In a deal that will allow one broadcasting company to reach 72% of U.S. households through ownership of local news stations, it was reported this week that Sinclair Broadcasting Group is buying Tribune for nearly $4 billion. Such a move wouldn't have been possible weeks back, but Donald Trump's new Federal Trade Commission chairman, Ajit Pai, just began implementing sweeping changes to previously established media ownership rules. So is Trump just doing exactly, I mean, he's doing exactly what he's told to do. A lot of these things that he's doing are just not his idea. The United States approves $2 billion missile sale to United Arab Emirates, who have been crushing Yemen. So that continues. Top NSA whistleblower ransomware hack caused by swindle of the taxpayers by intelligence agencies. What should we make of the global ransomware attacks which happened today? We've documented, this is Washington's blog here, we've documented that the intelligence services intentionally create digital vulnerabilities, then intentionally leave them open, leaving us exposed and insecure. So if you want to make changes to the internet, that's exactly what you do. You leave holes, and then someone fills those holes. And then you break it down into different groups, and that way, not any one can be really pinpointed. I mean, how was America attacked on 9/11? Plausible deniability, right? Exactly. Washington blog asked the highest level NSA whistleblower ever, Bill Binney, what he thinks of the attacks. Binney said, "This is what I called short-sighted, finite thinking on the part of the intelligence community managers. This is what I called for some years now a swindle of the taxpayers. First, they find or create weaknesses, then they don't fix these weaknesses, so we are vulnerable to attack. Then, when the attack occurs, they say we need more money for cybersecurity, a total swindle." This is only the second swindle of the public. The first was terror efforts by saying we need to collect everything to stop terror, another lie. They said that because to collect everything takes lots and lots of money, all right? Then when the terror attack occurs, they say they need more money, people, and data to stop terror, another swindle from the start. The war on terror is a self-licking ice cream cone because it creates many more terrorists than it stops. And finally, the latest swindle, the Russians did it. This is an effort to start a new Cold War, which means another big swindle of U.S. taxpayers. All right? Empowering them, weakening you. For cybersecurity, I would suggest the president order NSA, CIA, and others to fix the cyber problems they know about. Maybe we'll start to have some cybersecurity. So, the rest of that's over at Blacklisted News. But as I said, those holes are open, and the hardware, the software is compromisable, and then it happens. Problem, reaction, solution. $500 trillion in derivatives remain an important asset class. Hilariously, the New York Fed. So they're still stealing and manipulating and creating the coming collapse. The decade-long United States campaign to foment Syria's revolution and unseat Assad. Though many trace the beginning of the ongoing conflict in Syria back to Arab Spring protests of 2011, the seeds of war were sown as early as 2001, when the U.S. decided to declare Syria an enemy. The events that followed would send the country into a violent downhill spiral. Isn't that nice? Isn't that fucking great? Sweet. The mid-press news. President Bush gives his State of the Union address at the Capitol Hill in 2002. Bush fleshed out his vision for the war on terror beyond Afghanistan to a dozen countries that he said harbor terrorists and an axis of evil of 3 or more that seek weapons of mass destruction, including Syria. The fingerprints of U.S. and this is Syria in their comments. Fingerprints of U.S. imperialism can be found all over the manufactured insurrection in Syria, in keeping with the ultimate goal of destabilization and eventual regime change through fomenting a sectarian civil war. And that, of course, that's the blueprint that took Libya down, and the blueprint that took Iraq down, and so many others. Former NATO Commander Wesley Clark, has gone on record stating that Syria was on the list of targeted nations to be toppled by the U.S. as early as 2001. In 2002, former Secretary of State Bolton gave a speech titled Beyond the Axis of Evil that listed Syria as a handful of nations that could expect to be targeted. And see, that's, of course, what 9/11 allowed happen, right? Fast forward to 2011, when an uprising was manufactured in the Syrian city of Daraz. An uprising, right, was manufactured in the Syrian city of Daraz, and Syrians desperate for economic change joined the calls for freedom, right? So mainstream media outlets have largely described the uprisings as being part of a protest movement made up of demonstrators who demand the ouster, right, of Assad. But in reality, the main organizers and leaders of this so-called protest movement have been revealed to be U.S.-backed insurgents and foreign militants who have been armed, trained, and funded by U.S. and NATO proxies. Israel being one of them, for the purpose of destabilizing Syria through sectarianism. Okay, and this is exactly how it's done every time. CIA-backed Muslim Brotherhood assets were already in place to snipe at both police and protesters that day the first demonstration broke out. Since then, the CIA has funneled hundreds of billions of dollars, as well as staggering amounts of arms to jihadist recruits. Another article in that line, many of whom have poured into Syria from surrounding countries. Iraq. The narrative most commonly put forth in mainstream media portrays the Syrian conflict, as a popular uprising. However, a closer examination of the events that occurred in Daras in March of 2011, commonly described as the beginning of the conflict, reveals substantial and compelling evidence that not only contradicts the mainstream media's portrayal, but also strongly suggests the involvement, both financially and military, of outside influences and actuators. All right. Don Gore and Anwar Eshki shake hands at a CFR event as Elliot Abrams looks on. And these are Zionist neocons and people that did their part on the grand chessboard, and then Obama comes in and he plays his part. They act as if their ideologies are different, but what needs to happen by their standards happens, and it moves forward. And here we are today with Trump bombing Syria. The evidence of such involvement has piled up in the years since the conflict started. In 2012, Saudi General Anwar al-Eshki admitted in a BBC interview that his government had financed the Salafist Muslim Brotherhood elements and had sent weapons to the Al-Omari Mosque, some of which were later discovered and seized by Syrian security forces. These Salafist elements went on to form the backbone of the Free Syrian Army, a guerrilla force that has the stated goal of bringing down Assad and his government. So it goes in little steps, but here it is still going on. And you could say that when you have this type of evil up against you, if you're religious, then maybe you would think that they have the moral high ground, that they've been able to fight this off. The Salafists have done much to terrorize the civilian population of Syria. And of course, everything after this gets blamed on Assad. The Salafists have done much to terrorize the civilian population of Syria. In Karak, a village near Daras, villagers were forced to join anti-government protest and remove photos of Assad from their home. Those who refused were killed. People want to go out and peacefully ask for certain changes, but Muslim Salafi groups are sneaking in with their goals, which is not to make changes for the betterment of Syria, but to take over the country with their agenda, one Syrian Christian leader told the International Christian Concern. The following timeline portrays Syria's descent into civil war as part of the U.S. and NATO-backed efforts to destabilize the country and achieve their ultimate goal of regime change. Now, you get your regular, your regular American is gonna say, all they have to do is say that, Syria had links to 9/11, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. I mean, you don't have to do much after that. You don't have to do much. It's just like every other built-in reaction. That's what they wanted. That's what they got. Goal and objective achieved. And then, you just move forward. 2001, shortly after terrorist attacks of 9/11, a classified plot is revealed to Wesley Clark. He is informed that the U.S. plans to attack and destroy the governments of 7 countries for the purpose of intimidating terrorists, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Iran. It's ongoing. It's ongoing. 2002, Under Secretary of State Bolton declares Syria a member of the Axis of Evil. 2005, the United States Department of National Endowment for Democracy organizes and implements the Cedar Revolution in Lebanon. This all comes down to what Israel wants. Israel's going to get. That's the money power. It controls everything and everyone. So, but they do a great job of for the most part, staying out of the people involved, staying out of the line of fire. Seymour Hersh reveals in 2007 that U.S., Israel, and Saudi Arabia, as well as the Syrian arm of the Muslim Brotherhood, are assembling, arming, training, and funding sectarian extremists, many of whom have direct ties to Al-Qaeda. Their goal is to exploit the sectarian divide between Sunni and Shiite Muslims. Hersh's report indicated that the extremists would be strategically located so that they would be able to cross into Syria. 2009, Brookings Institute publishes a report titled "Which Path to Persia?" All right. 2009, British official tells former French minister from Foreign Affairs, Roland Dumas, that they were preparing something in Syria. There's a video for that. January 17, 2011. Prior to the anti-government insurgency and in response to popular pressure, the Syrian government increased the heating oil allowance for public workers by 72% to the equivalent of $33 a month. Anyway, it just continues to, through this timeline, get to where we are now. The fake saying that he gassed his own people. And then, of course, they blamed it on him again. Very damning, report that kind of chronologically breaks it all down. Early in April 2011, massive demonstrations are held in support of Assad and to reject extremists. And there's a picture of an estimated 2 million Syrians marched in Damascus. Such a beautiful place, man. The Middle East is probably one of the most beautiful places. Iran, you hear so many things about it, but they're just destroying everything. They're just destroying every fucking thing. CIA secretly providing arms to Syrian rebels, June 21st, 2012. And then, of course, Benghazi comes into play, and that's just another transfer of weapons and shit. So, all right, we're running out of time here. Thanks for hanging out today. Stay tuned for Ron, Rock on the Boat, and Hal today. Clint's rebroadcast of Corporation Nation. And we'll be back next week, maybe with a special guest. And we'll talk about some more deception. Happy Mother's Day to all out there in Mother's Dayville. And make it a great day. Make it a great day.
There is only one holistic system of systems.
I will MK Ultra ya. Put the MK scope on ya. If the MK hits you, it's guaranteed to open ya. The 57mm Mark 110. 220 rounds a minute, try to stop them. Don't put that on your wish list, that's retarded babble. Protesters make the hit list soon as they start to rabble. They are nothing but fishes in the barrel. It doesn't have to be Christmas for a carol. Some decorate with ornamental decorum. Some perform shock and awe on Hanukkah and Purim. That's where my job come in. I am a blessing to the mercenary for the corporation selling weapons to them. Any potential competitor step into them. I'm authorized to knock them out and stick a GPS into them. They want to sell uranium to Iran that's enriched. That's a bitch. Now we gotta